Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and begin with today's session. My name is Amna, and I am an educational advisor at the Education USA Karachi office. I would like to thank you for being here for today's webinar, and I would like to tell you a little bit about myself and about what we do and who we are before we officially commence with today's topic. So I graduated from the University of Maryland with a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics, and today's session, which is titled "Got Accepted, Now What," is for prospective undergraduate students who have applied to the US for their bachelor's degree. So it's an overview of what steps to take once you start receiving college acceptances, how to choose which college to attend, and also what to do if you have been waitlisted or rejected. So as you can see, these are all very pertinent questions. A lot of students in our advisees are wondering about these right now, which is why it's a great time to attend a workshop like this and get the answers to your queries. Like I said, before we begin, let's talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. So, Education USA is part of the US Department of State network. We have more than 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries all over the world. We provide free advising services to Pakistani students who are interested in pursuing their bachelor's, master's, or PhD from the United States. Education USA is your official source of accurate, comprehensive, and up to date information on all US higher education. We also have an app now, as you can see on the screen. You can take a picture of this because it has the QR codes to download our app for iPhone and Android. So if whatever queries you have, you can feel free to reach out to us via our app, which works like WhatsApp, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we'll do our best to address your query to the best of our abilities. You can also reach out to us via email or by phone call. So please, whatever queries that you have, feel free to address them by reaching out to us and putting them forward. Here is a really important slide that talks about some of the upcoming events that we will be hosting in the upcoming weeks. So as you can see, we have workshops and webinars that range from a different wide variety of topics, ranging from speaking with a US diplomat during the month of Ramadan to speaking about gap years to talking about different advising services that we have in addressing queries to talking about the F1 student visa process. We also tell you about financing your degree and how to find out more about where to find scholarships and financial aid and all of that. So whatever question you have, chances are that you will be able to find a webinar that suits your needs. Moreover, we also have webinars that are catering to specific topics and that are related to specific university representatives. As you can see in the last two, we do have one scheduled regarding the world of psychology, and we have one with the representatives of Goucher College and the University of Wyoming. So if you want to attend any of these sessions, please visit our website and you can register over there to receive updates and information on these workshops and webinars, or you can view the list by clicking on the upcoming events tab. Thank you. Now let's talk about today's topic. So a lot of the students have started hearing back from their universities especially if they applied in the early application cycle, and they're overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. They're not sure, how to proceed, and there's a lot of excitement. Obviously, if you've gotten into one or more schools that you applied to, so once the initial excitement has started wearing off, it's time to seriously think about where you're going to be attending your college in the fall. Now, this can be a really difficult decision to make, especially if you've been accepted to more than one school. And unless you know 100% the specific school that you want to go to, we do recommend creating a comparison chart. What does a comparison chart mean? Basically, the things that we recommend that you consider are the financial aid packages. So, if you've gotten accepted into one or more universities and you've gotten scholarships from them, we recommend that you compare the financial aid packages that you have received from these different universities. We also recommend comparing the different universities that you've been accepted to and looking at where they fell in your initial list and how they ranked in your initial list of universities. Another thing that we ask you to consider is what your life will look like on that specific campus. So try to envision yourself at that specific college or university and imagine you attending the university classes there and whether you feel like that would be a good fit for you, knowing your own personality, your profile, your preferences when it comes to learning. If you've applied to more than one college, you can also wait for more acceptance letters before making any decision. However, it's important to remember that there is a time limit attached to this decision making process, and universities do expect to hear back about your final decision about whether or not you're going to accept their offers or attend that specific university before the 1st of May. So please make sure you go ahead and read your acceptance packages carefully to find out about important deadlines that might be before that May 1st deadline to ensure that you don't miss out on any internal deadlines. Now, some of the questions that you should also be asking yourself in this entire process is the first one: is this school affordable for me? Because remember, at the end of the day, you want to find a school that is a good financial fit for you. Please go ahead and do an evaluation of whether or not the school is affordable for you. The next question should be: are there enough avenues for fun? Because at the end of the day, it's important to remember that undergraduate education is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You will only get this chance once, and you need to make the most out of it non academically as well. So you should look at the location of the university or the college that you have applied to. You should look at the different internship options, the placement options that are available, volunteer work, community service. If you're interested in sports, if you're interested in nature, if you're interested in hiking and mountain biking or any of that, go ahead and start thinking about those things, that do they have what you want to see in your dream university. Also, you need to consider, where do most students return or do they graduate? So what is the attrition rate, right? You need to look at the university's historic trends and see how many international students end up successfully thriving in that school and graduating on time with the degree that they wanted to complete. Also, finally, it's very important to remember that this is a big decision. You're going away for 4 years, and this is going to be difficult as well because you're going to be away from your home, you're going to be away from your family. So it's very, very important to find out whether or not the university that you're choosing is going to be like your second home. Right? So it's important to consider that very important question: whether or not you're going to feel at home, whether you're going to be feeling comfortable in your new surroundings, right? Now, what are some of the sources that you can visit to figure out all of these things? One of the first things that you can do is you can get in touch with the people who actually work at that university. Why don't you reach out to them and speak to them? So, the financial aid officer that you're in touch with, the international student affairs officer that you're in touch with, get to know more about the university and everything that it has to offer through them. The second option that you have is to get in touch with the current students at that university or college, especially if they have alumni from your specific institution. Get in touch with those students and ask them how their experience has been so far. What are the recommendations that they have for you? What are the things in hindsight that they would also have considered before making this decision on which university to actually end up going to? The third option that you have in order to do your research and figure out which university is the right university for you would be to look at the professors and the class options that they have in that specific college or university, right? Because these are the professors who you will be learning from for the next 4 years. So it's a really good idea to go ahead and follow them on LinkedIn if you haven't done so already. And you should also become familiar with what is the kind of research that they're conducting, what are their historic trends of grading, what is the way of teaching, right? Every professor has their own style of teaching, so there are a lot of websites where you can go and actually find out more about each professor and their unique specifications when it comes to assigning homeworks or taking tests, or just generally maintaining class conduct, right? And finally, the most important thing, the most important resource that you have at your disposal to find out more about a university and weigh your options is the official college website. So you should definitely visit your university's website, look at the images that are available there to get a feel of what the university is like. If it's a big university, whether it's a small university, what sort of a campus arrangement does it have? How many meal plan options do they have? There's so many things to consider. So the official college website is definitely your best resource when it comes to finding out more about the universities of your choice and looking at different options. Now let's move on to the next thing. This was all if you were satisfied with your financial aid offer. But what if you are not satisfied with your financial aid offer, or it's just not enough? right? The first and most important thing to do is to contact a financial aid officer. Now, realistically, this isn't uncommon that that your financial aid offer might not be enough. It could be due to the economy, it could be due to change in financial circumstances. There's a wide variety of reasons that factor into why this might occur. But whatever those reasons are, you need to understand that colleges want to provide financial aid to students, but they don't always have enough funds to meet the full need of every student. That means that a school may not award you enough financial aid to cover all your college expenses, or maybe it is the case that your family's financial situation has changed. For example, especially being in Pakistan, you can relate to this, that the economy is changing at a very fast pace, so there are definitely changes that are occurring. So if that is the case, then that means that the aid that you might have received might not be enough, or that you might need more in order to be able to attend that university. Regardless of which of the scenarios you are in, the first thing that you should do is contact your financial aid officer, because they can work with you to find a solution. You can call or email the financial aid office. If someone there can't answer your question in a phone call or email, you should make an appointment to meet with the financial aid officer as soon as possible. You should also talk with them, because it will help you learn how you can make up the difference between what you need and what the college awarded you. Financial aid officers want to help you attend their college, so they will work with you to find the right solution. And you can start by asking them questions like, what are my options for receiving more aid? How can I find scholarships to help pay for college? Can I talk to someone at the college about finding part time work? You can ask them whether or not they have any advice about getting a private loan. The second thing that you can do is you can file an appeal. So, if there is a significant change in your family's finances, such as a drop in your family income or any unexpected medical expenses, you can submit an appeal asking the financial aid office to review your award. So, you can call the office to find out what the college standard appeals process is so that you can follow it. Be ready to provide proof of change in your circumstances. So, you will have to give things like bank statements, pay stubs, or medical bills. But remember, it will take you time to prepare the appeal, and it will take time for the college to act on it. Also, if your appeal is not successful, you may want to consider applying for a private loan or explore other ways to pay for your college. Finally, the third thing is, don't be shy about asking for help, right? No matter what your situation is, don't be shy about contacting the financial aid office. Financial aid officers are there to answer your questions. And here I'm going to quote the university director of financial aid at Northwestern University, Carolyn Lindley, who said that people often worry that they're going to ask something stupid or that the office won't have time for them. But she said financial aid people want to help students, and they're not going to laugh at you. So the most important thing to remember is that they are there to help you, they are there to assist you, they want to help you find ways that you can attend their university. So please don't waste this resource, and make sure you make complete use of it, and don't shy away from approaching them or filing an appeal or asking them for more information on whatever it is that you need to discuss regarding your financial aid offer. Additionally, you also need to make sure that you are comparing the costs, right? So, financial considerations include asking yourself the following questions: who is going to pay for your college? What are the financing options that are available? And also, is work study available, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what the chart is showing you as well, that the costs associated with attending university in the United States are not just limited to tuition and fees, there's other costs as well. And those are expected costs and unexpected costs. The expected costs include room and board. Obviously, you knew this one, that if you're staying at the university, you're going to have to pay for that, for your dormitory or for off campus housing. Then you have books and school supplies. Everybody knows that as well. Obviously, if you're going there, you're going to have to spend some money on purchasing the textbooks, the notebooks, the necessary supplies that are needed in order to thrive in the classroom setting. However, sometimes there are other unexpected costs that are associated with equipment and raw materials, and also with traveling or any miscellaneous expenses. So, as an international student, it's really important to remember that you need to factor in for those as well, and compare the costs overall for each university that you have been accepted to. Now, here's a really cool tool that you can use in order to compare the costs. As you can see, it's called calculator.net, and it's called the college cost calculator. So here you can enter the total. the annual college costs, and then you can enter any increased rate. It can tell you the expected, you have to enter the expected college attendance duration, the percentage of cost from savings, the savings balance now, and you can go ahead and click the green button which says calculate. So this is an important step for many colleges because it can help you determine rough estimates of what to expect from college costs and how to begin budgeting for them, right? Talking to your family about which college works for you financially is also a really important step. So you should be having a conversation with your parents, with your elders about which university they think is a financially feasible option for you to choose, because at the end of the day you do need to take factor into account the exchange rates and the different economic conditions in both countries, right? So when it comes to making decisions about financial aid, you should also think about whether or not you and your family are comfortable with taking a student loan or figuring out a work study option. And this all of this needs to happen together. So you need to make sure that everybody is on the same page. These conversations are happening in an open setting, and they're happening on a regular basis to ensure that everybody is caught up with the most recent developments in your college application and college acceptance process. Now let's talk about two different case scenarios. The first one, you didn't get into your first choice college, right? It's a rejection. You're heartbroken. This is the university that you had been dreaming about your entire life. This is the university that you really, really wanted to attend. You had tried everything that you could to ensure that you would get into this university. And you know what? It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to feel like, you're angry and upset and hurt. And maybe you knew that it was a reach. Maybe you expected to get in. Regardless, rejection can sting. But you have to allow yourself some time to be bummed. Let these emotions process themselves, but don't dwell too much on them, right? At some point you have to move past them. Sorry, one second. Right. At some point, you have to move past them, and you have to ensure that you understand that just because it was your first choice, it doesn't mean it was the best choice, right? And first indicates that there is definitely a second, third, or fourth option available to you, right? There's a reason why you apply to more than one universities. There's a reason that the second university is so high up on the list. So just because you didn't get into your first choice, it does not mean that it's all over, nothing is going to happen, and this is the end, right? It just means that you weren't meant to go to that school. Maybe it wasn't a good academic or social fit, but when one door closes, another one opens. Now you have new opportunities in different schools to consider. So look at your second and third choice schools. There's a reason they were so high up on the list, right? So you want to make sure that you still want to attend them, right? So don't spend too much time dwelling on what might have been, but rather psych yourself up for what could have happened now. Maybe going to the second or third choice on your list is going to be the best decision that you could ever make, and you can still move forward and do amazing things at other universities. The other thing to remember is reputation. Oftentimes, we get so caught up in the university's reputation that we don't think beyond that, right? Some students think that just because a university is reputable, or it's more highly reputed than another university, that's going to ensure all future employment and all future success, and that's going to be a guarantee for all future success, right, in their careers and personal lives and forevermore. But actually, the truth of the matter is that it's what you do in college that matters more than where you go. Right? So at the end of the day, what employers want to see is not just the university that you ended up going to, they also want to see what did you make of the university that you ended up in, right? Did you try your best academically? Did you do anything apart from academics? Were you in leadership positions? Were you actually contributing to the academic setting or the campus or your surroundings? What were you doing to stand out as an excellent candidate for their job opening? Right? So GPA and achievements are more than just the name of your school, and at the end of the day, it's up to you to make the most out of the university wherever it is that you end up going, right? Nearly half of all college bound students don't enroll at their first choice college. So this brings me to number four, which is know that you're not alone. Right? You are not alone in this process. You're not the only one that this happened to. It has happened to so many candidates in the past. I can tell you from personal experience, it happened to me. And even though it's a shock and definitely it kind of halts you in your tracks, you can move past it. And looking back, I was extremely happy with going to University of Maryland. It was an excellent decision. And just like I figured it out, you can figure it out as well, right? So at the end of the day, don't think that you're the only one or that you're an outlier. There's actually a lot of successful people who didn't get into their first choice universities like Oprah Winfrey or Steven Spielberg. And look at them. They're doing just fine not having gone to their dream school. So being rejected from your first choice does not mean that life is over or that you'll never be mega successful, because at the end of the day, it's all about what you make of it and how much you shine at the university where you end up. Now, I talked about two scenarios, right? The first was rejection. The second is waitlisting, right? If you get waitlisted, a lot of students are very confused about what do I do if I've been waitlisted. Well, the first thing is respond and let the college know whether or not you want to stay on the waiting list. It only makes sense to keep your spot on the list if you're really interested in going to this college. Before you decide, find out whether there are any conditions attached to being waitlisted. For example, since you're notified later than other applicants, you may have fewer housing and financial aid options available. So it's important to factor in these things and then make a choice about whether or not you wish to stay on the wait list. And secondly, even if you decide to remain on the waiting list, you should be prepared to attend another college. So choose the best fit from the colleges that accepted you, fill out the paperwork, and send a deposit. You'll forfeit this deposit if the college that waitlisted you offers you a place and you accept, but still, you need to make sure that by doing this, you are securing your spot in at least one incoming freshman class for the upcoming fall. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Excuse me. Okay. If you've been waitlisted for one or more of the universities that you had applied to, then you can use this time to do three things. The first one is revisit your list of acceptances. Right. Revisit your list of acceptances and reorder it in terms of what are your priorities, right? What this means is you should go ahead and go back and look at the list of universities that you had shortlisted and look at the ones that were a priority for you between the time that you originally shortlisted them and now when you've actually started hearing back from them. Chances are your priorities may have changed, right? Students grow a lot in senior year and there are a lot of different things that factor into a change of priorities, so do revisit your list and reevaluate what is important to you and what matters to you most. The second thing to do is to wait for more options and financial aid packages to come your way, obviously. So you should wait to hear back from the other universities that you haven't heard back from. And thirdly, you should talk to the parents, to your parents, to counselors, to your mentors, and to your friends to figure out the best way forward. So having open, candid discussions with the people around you who want the best for you will definitely help you find great mental clarity and figure out the best way forward so that you can make an informed and well thought of decision. Also, you can use this time to apply to colleges with rolling admissions. So as you can see on the screen, applying to universities or colleges with rolling admissions is another option that you have if you are in the process of having heard back from specific universities but still waiting for others. So rolling admission is an application option that allows students to apply within a larger window of time, right? This window usually opens up in the fall, which is usually September 1st, and lasts throughout the spring or until all the spots in the upcoming class have been filled. So this option is different from regular decision, early action, and early decision, all of which have set deadlines and are unlikely to accept a late application. However, that being said, the fact that rolling admission colleges will accept your application throughout the year doesn't mean that you're off the spot or that there's no pressure. Like I said, the application window will be open only until all spots have been filled. So admissions committees review applications as they roll in, which is why it's called rolling admissions, and they send back a decision soon after. Typically, you will hear back from within 4 to 8 weeks. Sometimes you can hear back in just 2 weeks as well from applying. So you should definitely start looking at different schools with rolling admission deadlines. For example, Michigan State University advises students to submit their applications by November 1st if they want maximum scholarship consideration. So just keep in mind that this is generally how the rolling admissions process works, but it can vary from school to school. And because there are more than 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States, each of them might have a different policy. So at the end of the day, it's very, very important to do your research and ensure that you know know all the timelines, internal and external, that are associated with this process so that you don't miss out on anything, right? It's also important to just get in touch with the National Students Affairs office and find out from them directly what their specific process is and what are the deadlines that are associated with them. Let's move on to the next slide now. So this is another option. You can look at the universities and colleges that have a March 1st deadline. So again, you need to remember that it's not necessary just because we're in March right now, or actually April 1st deadline. Just because we're on March 8th right now doesn't mean that all universities have closed their deadlines. There are some universities that have later deadlines in the year, and you should start looking at those universities. So 15th March, 30th March, 31st March, 1st April, these are the universities that you should start looking at, where the regular admissions deadlines are the ones that I just mentioned. So even if their priority deadlines for financial consideration are gone, you can still go ahead and submit an application. And if you're choosing to do this, apply through regular admissions to universities with later deadlines, one of the best things that you can do is use the reverse college search method. What the reverse college search method means is you can use this website called bigjeducationalconsulting.com and visit their resources page, and they have an entire PDF there which you can look at to see which universities have the highest tendency to give a financial aid or scholarships to international students. If you have that information about which university historically gives the highest amount of aid to its international students that are present on campus, you can then make an informed choice and choose those universities which will give naturally, or already they historically they will be giving more aid, so that even if you're applying later in the cycle, they have a trend of giving high amounts of aid, so that you can ensure that you will be getting a good offer from them financially as well. Now let's talk about the next thing. Another option that you have is researching and applying to community colleges. So this is another great option if you want to buy some more time before starting your university at a 4-year university. Your studies at a 4-year university. So if you need to buy some more time, if you need to improve your grades, if you need to retake your SATs, or you need to retake any of your exams, this is a great option to explore. And also, if there have been significant changes in your affordability, this is also, again, another great option to explore, because community colleges are significantly cheaper and they oftentimes have something called a 2+2 pathway program, which means that a lot of community colleges have agreements, transfer agreements with 4-year universities in the region, so that the students from that community college have higher chances of getting accepted, or sometimes are guaranteed admission into that specific university. I was one of those students. I moved in the middle of my freshman year and I had to take a gap, because of which, a gap semester, because of which I had two options. I could either repeat my freshman year and start from scratch in the US once I landed there because of my father's job, or I could go to a community college and transfer my credits and then transfer to a 4-year university. I chose the community college route, and I can tell you personally, it's one of the best decisions of my life. It saved me time. It saved me money. I was able to transfer my credits from Pakistan. I was able to do a degree that I was interested in, which was business administration. And then I was able to also transfer to University of Maryland and graduate from there 2 years later with a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics. So remember, community college is definitely a viable option. And if you want to explore more for this, there are some great articles that are available on Huffington Post and bestschools.org. So please go ahead and visit these websites and explore this option if this is something that seems like one of the things that you want to consider. Another thing is that you can take a gap year. If you think that you couldn't get into your universities because of some specific reason, some specific thing that was holding you back in your application, that was within your control, like perhaps maybe you didn't have enough time to spend writing your essays, and you know that you weren't able to do them justice, and you know that you can do better than what you had done, right? And you want to take more time and write better quality essays that are a much better portrayal of who you are as a candidate, that do more justice to your profile, then you can take a gap year and apply again. right? And you can apply from scratch and you can write the essays from scratch. And if you think the SAT score was something that was holding you back, that the universities that you applied to required higher SAT scores, and you're confident that if you could just give it one more time, you could get a higher score, then for all these reasons and more, maybe you should consider the pros and cons that are associated with taking a gap year. Also, if this is something that is piquing your interest or that you want to explore further, we are having a workshop on this next Wednesday, March 13th at 2 p.m. On Zoom again, which will be titled Gap Year Taboo No More. So if you want to find out more about the pros and cons that are associated with taking a gap year, whether or not it's a good fit for you and whether or not you should be considering taking a gap year and what the implications of that might be, please go ahead and after today's session, sign up for this workshop that is happening next week and attend that session to find out more about everything that has to do with gap years. Now, remember, if you've looked at all your options, you've weighed all your choices, you've considered everything, it is time to now keep calm and make your choice, right? Commit. So you need to respond to the college that you decide to attend. Make sure you send in the following items by the deadline. One is your acceptance letter. Second is a deposit. The third is a separate acceptance letter for financial aid if required. The fourth is any other required items that they might ask for, like financial final transcripts or final grades for that semester. And finally, you need to email the colleges that you aren't attending, right? So remember, this is not a decision that you have to make overnight. So don't feel pressured. A lot of colleges don't expect your final decision until May 1st. So you do have a lot of time between now and May 1st to do your pros and cons evaluations and think about what it is that you want to do with the offers that you've received, with the offers that you're still waiting for. But remember that colleges are serious about reply deadlines, and if you don't send your deposit in time, you will risk losing your place. So once you know and you've made up your mind, don't procrastinate and make sure you let them know as soon as possible. Also, even if you're not going to a school, it is still ethically responsible to go ahead and let them know that you will not be attending their school, right? One of the reasons that this is recommended is because this opens up that seat for another candidate who might be seriously interested in going to that school. So you need to make sure that you're also letting the schools know that you don't want to go to, that you are politely declining their offer and you're grateful for their consideration and you're really happy to have been able to apply to their esteemed institution, right? Also, once you've received your acceptance letter, it's really important to read it thoroughly because some acceptance letters have important key information about the next steps that can solidify your enrollment at the institution, right? So they'll often list additional tasks, and if that is the case, you need to make sure you complete those additional tasks as soon as possible. Also, check with your school counselor to see if there's any other documentation that the school needs to submit on their part, and make sure you follow up with your counselor to see that to ensure that everything is submitted on time, right? You don't want this to happen that you get to the campus in the fall but you're not eligible to attend classes because your final transcripts were not received or your ONA level certificate original copies were not received. So make sure everything is done, everything is sent, all the deadlines are being met, and you are ready to start attending classes. Also, once that is done, you need to then apply for housing, right? Once you've accepted your admission, it's time to apply for housing. So you need to figure out, do you want to live in an all freshman dorm? How do you feel about co-ed housing? You have to keep in mind that the sooner you apply for your housing, the better your chances are of getting your first pick. Also, you need to consider who you want to live with, right? So generally speaking, it's best if you don't live with your best friend at college because sometimes it can work out, but sometimes it can really test your relationship. So it's a good idea if you try to uh, mingle with new people on campus, try to make new friends, try to establish new connections. And colleges usually have some sort of a questionnaire that they ask you to fill out if you're being randomly paired with a roommate, like what time do you prefer to go to bed, or when do you like to study, or something like do you smoke or do you not smoke, right? So if you want to pick your own roommate, you can also go ahead and visit the social media pages that your university or college has and go ahead and publish a post there about searching for a roommate. So this is the best time to actually go ahead and be doing a little bit of digging around to really get to know people and find the right roommate, because believe me, having a good roommate will completely transform your life for the better at university, and having a difficult roommate can really take an emotional and mental toll on you if you are not used to that sort of a thing, especially if you're coming from our society like ours, where you've been living at home with your parents. So make sure you've done your research, you know who you're going to be rooming with, and you are friends with them, and you understand what their quirks are, what their personality preferences are, and that you guys are aligned to be able to uh, live in the same space. Also, remember, this is the time to also sign up for orientation week, right? So, classes in college are first come, first serve. And if you're attending a large college or university, chances are that they'll be offering more than one orientation session throughout the summer. So, try to sign up for the one that you can find as soon as possible at the earliest. And the ones who go to the earlier sessions do get to choose the classes first. So, there's a direct advantage of this. And students who don't go until the end may find that the classes or the professors that they were hoping to secure are now already taken. Okay, you've been accepted. A lot of students often suffer from something called senioritis. What is senioritis? Senioritis is you're in senior year, it's your last semester, you've been accepted to university. Who cares about grades anymore, right? It's time to relax, put up your feet, and finally revel in the glory of all those meetups and gatherings that are happening with your friends before you bid them farewell. Well, I have some news for you. That's not a good idea, right? Don't forget that just because you've secured your place in college, it doesn't mean that you can relax and let go of your academic performance, right? You must not give in to the temptation to party or abandon your current educational trends, because if your university or college asks to see your transcript at the end of that last semester, a bad grade could actually spell a lot of trouble for your scholarship or your financial offer or even your acceptance. So instead of focusing on making new memories exclusively, you should also focus on keeping up your good grades, maintaining your academic performance, and staying involved in your extracurricular activities, because these are the reasons that that university accepted you in the first place. So receiving your first college acceptance is the first step in a new adventure to in your educational journey. So don't rush into your decision without considering your options, and remember, with research and careful thought, you can make a good decision that will help you reach your dreams and fulfill all the goals that you had associated with your undergraduate education. Now, another important logistical thing that a lot of students don't think about, if you haven't done so already, please apply for your passport. It's really important to remember that it's taking up to 40 days to get a new passport these days, which is why you need to go ahead and apply for your passport as soon as possible if you haven't done so already. Get that picture taken, get the biometrics done, take the token from the passport collection, and go ahead and receive your passport well in advance of your intended time of departure, right? Also, you need to ensure that once you have your passport, you need to apply for your student visa, right? So you need to collect all the necessary documents that are required before your appointment so that you can get this done on a priority basis. And also, as you can see in white right here, we do recommend that you attend our pre-departure orientation. The Education USA pre-departure orientation is a unique event where you will get to understand more about the first steps that you need to take once you arrive in the US on campus at your university, such as immunizations and getting in touch with your international student affairs officer and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that you should know that need to be done upon arrival in the US. And if you want to find out all about that and about more, please do go ahead and attend our pre-departure orientation this summer before you depart for your studies in the US. Now, again, if you have any questions at all about anything that I mentioned, and there's any query at all about this process or about any acceptance that you've received or any advice that you need from us, remember you can just reach out to us via email, and you can also go ahead and register on our website. If you want to specifically get in touch with the Karachi team, the email is karachi at the rate of educationusa.org, and you will get an advisor assigned to your case who can do one-on-one meetings with you virtually, who can assist you with your queries, and who can address whatever concerns you have. With that, I would like to conclude this session and move on to the second part of it, which is the Q&A. So I will now be taking questions from the Q&A box, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in the Q&A box, and I'll try my best to answer them. My fourth semester in bachelor's near an end. Can I apply to any university for the fifth semester? If you are interested in semester exchange programs, we do recommend that you go ahead and visit our website and the USEFP website for different semester exchange programs that we have that are available. Also, the US Consulate has different programs, so please do go ahead and visit the website and you'll find out more about the UGrad program or the SUSI program that you can explore. How to apply through scholarship. If you have already been accepted and are now trying to increase your financial aid offer or increase your scholarship, then like I said, get in touch with your financial aid officer, file an appeal, and that's the way to go about it. If you haven't applied for universities yet, and if you're planning on applying this fall, then you can get in touch with us and we can help you shortlist universities based on your budget and your affordability and your overall academic profile so that you can apply to the best financial fit universities. Okay, we have another question. Okay, you can apply for your student visa as soon as you receive an I-20 from the university. So if you've been accepted into a program for the August intake, you should definitely reach out to the university and ask them to issue you an I-20, which is the document on the basis of which you can go ahead and then apply for your visa. What are the distinct advantages of attending a liberal arts college? Whitworth University compared to other types of colleges. Okay, so liberal arts colleges definitely have a lot of benefits that are associated with them. As opposed to four-year universities. Similarly, four-year universities have some unique offerings that liberal arts colleges don't. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what is your preference as a learner. If you are somebody who thrives in smaller classroom settings, who likes a smaller student-teacher ratio, maybe you're used to being in a classroom setting where there's one professor for 16 students or 20 students. And the liberal arts college is a really great choice for you because they do have smaller class sizes. There's more one-on-one attention that you receive from the professor as opposed to public research universities where the class sizes are definitely larger, especially at the introductory level in freshman year. So I'll just give you my example. My university, the University of Maryland, our introduction to economics course was it used to take place in an auditorium with 200 students present and one professor, right? So oftentimes it was a struggle to even get the professor to know your name. So unless you're an extrovert and you thrive in that kind of an environment, which I luckily was, um, you just need to think about whether that's a good choice for you. That being said, public universities have great research availabilities. There's a lot of great options if you're interested in research work or if you're interested in that sort of thing. So again, at the end of the day, it's you need to just figure out what's the right choice for you. What is your preference? What is your field of interest? And what do you wish to take away from your undergraduate education? Right. Somebody's asking about the CCC session. So we have our CCC interviews in progress, and the induction will take place at the end of the month. For those queries, you can email us. There's no set amount that you need to show in your bank for your visa acceptance. Actually, you just need to basically convince the visa officers that you have affordability. So just ensure that you can afford the university education that you have been accepted for. Let's see the next one. Researching universities that give financial aid officers. Yes. So I said it was Big J Consulting, right? And you have to go to the resources page, and over there you can see that document which will guide you on the reverse college search method, which basically means you look at the universities and their aid giving patterns and then shortlist them as an international student. How would I know if the admission offer I received is conditional upon the submission of a final high school transcript? Chances are it's actually mentioned right there in the letter. So, at least in my case, I had applied to 8 universities, and I think all of them mentioned whether or not it was a conditional offer. It's literally, they make it bold and they sometimes underline it as well. Also, even if they're not explicitly saying that, you need to understand that if there's a drastic change in your grades in the last semester, that's never a good idea. So even if your university is not going out there and saying it in the letter itself, you should not take that risk. You should always try to maintain your grades. How easy will it be to change rooms if you're uncomfortable with your roommate? That depends on room availability. Like I said, universities have limited rooms available on campus, and if you're not, you're not able to secure a room in the first come first serve rounds, then chances are you might have to live off campus, or you might have to live in the apartment housing options that they have available. So there's different types of housing. There's sharing bases, there's different separate rooms, there's four people in one room with a hallway bathroom. So you just need to see what are the specifics of your university. But yeah, chances are if you miss the deadline or if you're too late, you won't have any rooms available, right? So better to always do it first. How much scholarship will cover your expense? How much scholarship will cover your expense depends on your affordability, right? So what is your budget? You need to look at your budget, you need to look at the offer that you've received, you need to find out the difference between those two things, and that will show you that's how much scholarship you need or how much financial aid you need to aim for, right? Does university ranking matter for visa approval? For visa approval, like I said, you just need to be a genuine candidate. You need to show that you have the funds available to back your education. And more than ranking, they want to see how much research you've done, whether you're a serious candidate, and what are your intentions, how you will use that degree to the best of your abilities in the future, right? For the visa related questions, I would recommend we have multiple F1 visa seminars that are going to be taking place with visa officers in the coming weeks. So please, let's just save these questions for those, and you can actually attend those and find out directly from the source about what it is that you are confused about and what is the best way to proceed. What would you suggest for a pre-med student in Pakistan? Right. So for medical students, you just need to remember that if you want to become a doctor in America, it's a much lengthier process than it is in Pakistan, and there are specific nuances that are attached to it. So please go ahead and start doing your research. It will take you almost twice as long, and it's going to cost twice as much as well. So you need to do your research and make sure that you are aware of what you are signing up for, if that is what you want, right? But generally, Pakistan is much faster and cheaper compared to the medical route in America. Right. Again, with the visa questions, I would just say please either email us or just wait for the visa seminar. And that does bring us to the end of our questions. Thank you so much for being here today. If there's anything else that you wish that you need addressed, please go ahead and reach out to us, and we're here to assist you. And thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Take care.